Believe it or not, but fences can help you become a better decision maker. This idea comes from G.K. Chesterton's 1929 book, The Thing, and it is now commonly referred to as Chesterton's fence. In the simplest terms, it states, do not remove a fence until you know why it was put up in the first place. In this video, I'm going to help you master the intricacies of Chesterton's fence and show you the disastrous results of what happens when you ignore it. Part of Chesterton's fence has to do with this idea called second-order thinking. And that sounds kind of big and scary, but I promise you it's not. Second-order thinking is simply the practice of not considering just the consequences of our decisions, but also the consequences of those consequences. First-order thinking considers the immediate, anticipated results of an action. It's simple and quick, and usually requires little effort. Second-order thinking, on the other hand, is more complex and time-consuming. Second-order thinking will get you extraordinary results. To understand exactly why this is, let's go back to our fences. In his book, Chesterton tells the story of two people coming upon a fence that's erected across a road. The modern type of person simply goes up to the fence and says, "Well, I don't see any use for this here fence, so let's just get rid of it." To which the more intelligent person says, "Well, if you don't see the use for it, I certainly won't let you clear it away. Go away and think, and when you figure out why it's here, then maybe I'll let you destroy it." Chesterton explained why this principle holds true, writing that fences don't grow out of the ground, nor are they built by people in their sleep or during a fit of madness. Instead, he explained, fences are built by people who carefully plan them out, and usually for a good reason. So until we establish that reason, we have no business destroying it. A lot of the problems that we face in life happen because we intervene with a system without knowing the consequences of what will happen when we do so. If a fence exists, there's probably a reason for it. It may not be a good or a logical reason, but it's a reason nonetheless. And before we can do anything, we have to figure out what that reason is. Let's look at hierarchy-free companies as an example. Hierarchy-free companies aren't organized in the same way traditional companies are. Instead of the usual pyramid-like structure with the executives on top, managers below, and so on, in hierarchy-free companies, everyone is even across the board. See, it's free of hierarchy. Now, it is certainly admirable that these companies are trying to break the mold and do something new. But while doing so, they may be ignoring the principle of Chesterton's fence. And it's not because they're trying something new. Chesterton's fence doesn't say to not innovate. A lot of people think that's the case. That's not true. What it does say is that if you innovate, if you get rid of something in a system, before you get rid of it, you have to know why it was there. So just because a hierarchy-free company exists doesn't mean it's automatically going to be more productive and efficient. Somebody still has to make decisions, and somebody still has to be held accountable for the decisions made. Without a formal hierarchy, the most charismatic or domineering person may take on that leadership role and not necessarily the most qualified. So having Chesterton's fence in mind while looking to create a hierarchy-free company leads you to ask what the purpose of having a hierarchy structure is, and what are the second-order effects of removing that. That's a peacock. Look at that tail. It's beautiful and ornate, but it's incredibly inefficient. It really doesn't do anything other than signal to female peahens how healthy and strong it is. It's like the peacock's version of Tinder. So imagine an outside observer coming in and trying to increase efficiency in the peafowl species by giving it a more efficient and practical tail. They could do this, but they'd be removing one of the key identifiers that females use to choose a strong and healthy mate. Without this signal, the species may mate with whoever they choose, no matter how healthy they actually are. This could produce a generation of weak peafowl, which, though dramatic, could lead to the demise of the peafowl species altogether. The first order effect of removing the ornate tail of the peacock is increased efficiency. A good thing. But the second order effect of removing the tail could be the extinction of the peafowl species altogether. A very bad thing. And that, right there, is Chesterton's fence. Now that you have a better understanding of this idea, let's look at how we can use Chesterton's fence to get rid of bad habits. No one wakes up one day and decides they want to start smoking or drinking every night. Bad habits generally evolve to serve an unfulfilled need, like connection, comfort, or distraction. So attempting to remove the habit and leave everything else in the system untouched just leaves a hole in that system, and something else, maybe even something worse than before, is going to fill that hole. Because whatever the need was that originally led to that bad habit is most likely still there. Instead, you have to replace a bad habit with a good or a less harmful habit, or deal with the underlying need somehow. Again, that fence went up for a reason, and it can't come down without something either taking its place or removing the need for it to be there at all. So the next time you're about to make a change to a system, ask yourself, why was this thing put up in the first place? And what's gonna happen when I tear it down?